I don't really know how to do the sort of prep stuff without it being somewhat intensive, because otherwise I just don't feel I have the confidence. I always imagine that I'm going to get to set and the director's going to go, I don't even like this scene.
I mean, can you talk to these people or something? I'm not getting anywhere.
Oh, what are those?
Oh, well, it's cranberry juice, apple.
Really?
I started laughing and she started cracking up, and we both realized we had the same very sick sense of humor, and we were like, oh yeah, all right, this will work between us.
Christian Bale isn't the actor who laughs off tension. He's the actor who channels it, confronts it, and sometimes explodes from it. Over the years, 5 figures in Hollywood ended up testing the limits of his patience in ways the public was never supposed to see. Whether it was on set, behind closed doors, or even in private industry conversations, Bale's reactions tell us everything about the side of fame he can't stand. The stories you'll hear today reveal not hate for people, but for the very culture that shapes them. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Number 1, the breakdown with Shane Hurlbut. A single mistake on set triggered one of Bale's most infamous explosions. It happened during the filming of Terminator Salvation, when Shane Hurlbut, the film's cinematographer, drifted into the wrong place at the wrong time. Hurlbut's job was to shape the lighting and camera setup, so every shot captured the right atmosphere. On this day, though, the technical adjustments collided with Bale's need for complete immersion. Bale was in the middle of an intense scene, building emotions that demanded concentration, when Hurlbut crossed directly into his eye line. For most actors, a brief distraction might earn a glare or a pause, but for Bale, it was something else entirely. His focus fractured in the heat of the moment, and what followed would become legend. The actor erupted with a torrent of anger, shouting across the set and making it clear he was ready to walk away from the film altogether. The audio, filled with profanity and frustration, was never supposed to reach the outside world. But once it leaked, it spread with incredible speed, replayed on radio shows, discussed on talk programs, and mocked in parody videos across the internet. The incident cemented Bale's image for millions who had never seen him outside of his performances. Suddenly, he wasn't just the dedicated chameleon actor, he was labeled volatile, obsessive, even dangerous to work with. Yet those closer to the production understood it wasn't personal animosity toward Hurlbut. After tempers cooled, Bale apologized, and the two men reconciled. In interviews afterward, Bale framed it as a failure of discipline on his part, but also as proof of how completely he gives himself to a role. What the world interpreted as hatred was actually something else, an uncompromising refusal to let anything interfere when the work demanded total focus. Number 2, Russell Crowe. What happens when two of Hollywood's most intense perfectionists cross paths? When Christian Bale and Russell Crowe shared the screen in 3:10 to Yuma, the pairing promised fireworks both on and off camera. Both men were known for their serious approaches to acting, their refusal to break character, and their willingness to go to extremes for authenticity. But when you put two forces like that together, harmony doesn't always follow. On set, whispers began that the shoot was tense. Bale, portraying a stubborn rancher, squared off with Crowe's outlaw character in a film built entirely on dueling wills. The drama didn't stay confined to the script. Crew members described an atmosphere where every choice, from line readings to body language, could spark disagreement. Bale, who already valued precision above everything else, struggled with Crowe's domineering energy. Crowe, meanwhile, was equally determined to shape scenes around his own instincts, creating a subtle battle for control. What made their clashes so believable on screen was the fact that they weren't simply acting. Reports suggested that Bale saw Crowe's towering ego as a constant distraction, while Crowe viewed Bale's obsession with detail as rigid and unyielding. Neither was wrong. Their methods were simply too similar, each man demanding deep input on how the movie should feel and refusing to back down. Crowe also brought his own history to the table, a track record of confrontations that had earned him a reputation as one of the most volatile stars in the business. That intensity only magnified the sense that Bale and Crowe were mirrors of each other. The final product, however, worked. 3-10 to Yuma won praise with critics and audiences, even while the rumors of friction never faded. In truth, the tension wasn't born from personal hatred. It was the collision of two actors unwilling to compromise their vision, even with each other. Number 3, Tom Cruise. Bale once made comments that led fans to think he despised Tom Cruise, but the story runs deeper. The connection started with American Psycho, Bale's breakout role, where he played Patrick Bateman, a Wall Street executive whose polished smile hid something terrifying beneath the surface. Years later, Bale admitted that part of Bateman's unnerving charisma was modeled after a very real Hollywood figure, Tom Cruise. He described noticing Cruise's almost unnatural friendliness in interviews and public appearances. People who worked with Cruise often commented on his charm, but Bale saw something different. He thought there was a kind of emptiness quietly tucked behind the dazzling grin, a contradiction that felt both magnetic and hollow at the same time. For an actor trying to build Bateman as a character who embodied perfection on the outside and chaos on the inside, Cruise offered a clear template. Once Bale's comments reached the public, people quickly jumped to conclusions. They read it as a jab, as if Bale was mocking Cruise and reducing his personality to an act. For years, the comparison lived on in gossip blogs, interviews, and online debates. Was Bale deliberately insulting his fellow actor? Or was it simply an observation he used for research? The fact that he chose Cruise specifically kept the speculation alive. At its core, the choice revealed something about Bale himself. Cruise represented the side of Hollywood Bale never wanted to embrace. The crafted image, the glossy sound bites, the endless promotion that comes with being a movie star. Bale had little interest in being that kind of public figure. By embedding Cruise's traits into Patrick Bateman, Bale wasn't attempting to start a feud. He was turning his rejection of surface-level Hollywood into a character study, and one that helped launch him into stardom on his own uncompromising terms. Number 4, George Clooney. Two of Hollywood's leading men, but with polar opposite philosophies on fame. George Clooney embraced the spotlight, flashing the smile, working the red carpets, and managing the press with ease. Christian Bale, on the other hand, refused to play that game. To him, acting was about disappearing completely into a role, not maintaining a polished image for entertainment reporters. That gap in philosophy created a quiet tension between the two. Clooney often charmed his way through controversies with humor, but Bale never viewed those moments as harmless. When Clooney played off Bale's Terminator Salvation meltdown during an interview as if it were a punchline, the joke didn't land well with those who knew how seriously Bale guarded his process. To Clooney, it may have been another way to ease the tension in Hollywood circles. To Bale, it looked like a dismissal of the commitment he carried into every performance. That difference mattered because Clooney represented the exact kind of actor Bale avoided becoming. Clooney thrived in magazine covers, celebrity profiles, and industry events. He knew how to sell his work and keep audiences on his side. Bale resisted all of that, often avoiding interviews when he could. And when he showed up, he focused almost entirely on the character rather than himself. For Bale, being branded a movie star was a distraction from the actual craft. So when Clooney's jokes and public comments surfaced, people quickly speculated about bad blood. But the truth wasn't personal hatred. Clooney symbolized everything Bale rejected: smooth publicity moves, effortless charm, and the ability to turn an outburst into a funny headline. To Bale, Clooney wasn't just another colleague. He was a reminder of the Hollywood system Bale had spent his career fighting not to absorb. Number 5. Christopher Nolan. What happens when even Bale's closest collaborator can't escape the friction? Christian Bale and Christopher Nolan worked side by side for nearly a decade on the Batman trilogy, a partnership that turned Bale into Bruce Wayne for an entire generation. Their collaboration was widely seen as one of mutual respect. Nolan was a director who valued control and precision, and Bale was an actor who demanded the same. But during The Dark Knight Rises, reports surfaced that even in this trusted relationship, tempers could heat up. The issue wasn't about petty disagreements. It came down to creative decisions. Bale had poured himself into Batman's psychology and physicality for years, and when he sensed a choice might weaken what he had built, he didn't keep quiet. He challenged Nolan directly, sparking conversations that sometimes grew sharp. To Bale, protecting the character mattered more than hierarchy, even if it meant questioning the vision of the director guiding the entire film. This kind of pushback might sound combative, but it revealed something crucial. Bale's loyalty wasn't blind. He stood firmly behind any filmmaker who respected his process, but he also expected that his perspective would be valued in return. Crew members have said this side of Bale wasn't limited to conflict. There were times when he diffused disputes between others, stepping in to mediate when tensions threatened to derail a scene. These 5 tense moments weren't just cases of Christian Bale hating other actors. They revealed his constant battle with the pressures of Hollywood, where compromise often comes easier than commitment. Every clash, whether it was with a co-star, a director, or the industry at large, showed how unwilling he was to step back from intensity. So maybe his so-called hate list isn't really about dislike at all. It's about refusing comfort when the work demands courage. The question is, does that kind of focus count as admirable discipline, or is it self-destructive? What do you think the price of authenticity really is?